What's going on, guys? So today I want to talk about my fourth real estate deal. And to kind of recap my last three deals, I basically bought three single family homes, all in California, two in the Bay Area, one in Orange County. And what I basically did for my first two was they're all first three was they're all primary residence. So I had the primary residence conventional loan, and I house hacked my first two. On my third single family home, I wanted to build an ADU in the backyard for me to live in, but due to my job situation, I ended up not living in it. I had the intent to live in it. So I ended up renting that thing out to a family. But on my first deal, I downed 20%. My second and third, I only downed 10%. Right. So that's the beautiful thing about primary residence. You can down less than 20% and you can scale. Right. And then all of these were on market. I bought all my deals on Redfin, on Zillow, real estate agent, and I only got them because I was just very persistent. Right. I think my second and third deals, they had really bad photos. So I just came in, made an offer immediately, and got it because they're just bad photos, bad marketing. Right. So and at this time, I was only buying California, and that was my goal. I wanted to buy one a year for 10 years. That's what my goal was, and that's how I thought I was going to retire. But I quickly found out that, California, it's more of an appreciation market in terms of cash flow. All my single family homes are either break even or slightly negative, and that I still have to work, right? I had a good W-2 income, but if I'm negative or break even, I'm not going to retire. Certainly I can sell these properties because they appreciated significantly, but you need cash flow today to retire, right? So appreciation is more long term, cash flow is more immediate, especially if you want to retire early. So I started researching into other out of state real estate markets, and the funny part was I just was hanging out with my cousin, and he's an aerospace engineer, and he goes to Huntsville, Alabama a lot because that's the aerospace capital, right? They have the highest percentage of rocket scientists and PhDs in that area. So I just said, this sounds interesting. My dad works in aerospace. My cousin goes there a lot, and he just said that, yeah, it's a really nice area. So I just started researching um, houses on the Bigger Pockets forums. To be honest, I just went on to Huntsville, Alabama. That there's like a forum page in Bigger Pockets, and I just started like posting a message saying, "Hey, I'm looking to research about single family homes." Or 1 to 4 units in Huntsville, Alabama, and then a bunch of realtors reached out to me, a bunch of property managers reached out to me, and ironically, one realtor reached out to me, and what they specialize in was buying brand new construction. So, for brand new constructions, usually they try to sell like the majority, 80% of these to actual homeowners because they don't want a bunch of Californians owning in development and a bunch of single family homes in Huntsville, Alabama. But they had like maybe 10 to 20% or maybe some leftover deals that they want to get rid of, and they would throw it out to investors because the builders wanted to sell it and get their money and move on to the next development project. So what was kind of nice was they were a realtor as well as a property manager, so they could tell me like obviously they can help me buy the house, and they tell me how much I can rent out for, and they can help me manage my rental. So they brought me um, a brand new single family home that was maybe about 4 months away from being built. It was $280,000. I'll show a video. I'll actually do a next video on the house. I actually have pictures of it on Zillow back when we were trying to rent it out, and it was $280,000, which I thought was so cheap. I mean, all my houses I bought were 800 to a million, $1.1 million. So to me, $280,000 for a brand new house. I think it was like 4 bedroom, two and a half, a 3 bath. And what was crazy was they can rent for 2,100. So, that to me, that was like close to the 1% rule. I think I did the math. I downed about 20%. Property management fee was 10%. Um, and I think with the rent at 2,100, I was cash flowing around $700 a month, cash flow, positive. So I just thought, wow, this cash flow is $700 a month. If I buy like 10 of these, that's $7,000 a month in net cash flow, and that's like my pharmacist salary almost, right? So at that point, I can retire, and so I was thinking like, wow, I can maybe sell some of my single family homes in California. I had like at least $500,000 of equity in it, and then use that to basically, 1031 and buy a couple of these new builds. And what's nice about the new builds is that there's no competition. It's first come, first serve. Like whoever signs the contract first gets the property, right? There's no bidding war. It was very easy. And then my realtors slash property manager, they had connections of builders. Like they would send them deals, so I could buy these easily. It's easy to scale, right? So at 280,000, 25% down. So that's what, like around $70,000. And I had some properties with like, $500,000 of equity. I could easily buy like maybe six, seven of these properties. And, let's say I could buy six of them times 700. What is that? That's seven times, that's 4,200 a month in cash flow. And that's like almost one of my paychecks at that point, right? So that's how I scale. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I had a property manager, so I don't have to like deal with showing the unit. I don't have to, worry about it. I don't have to house hag. I just can still live in my apartment and then make this money. So it really opened my horizons to out of state, right? So, I ended up, buying the property for $280,000. I down, I think, 25%. And my interest rate was 3.5 percent as an investment property. And when I took over the property, kind of the downside was it took a little bit longer to rent out that property. I think I closed on like March, and that thing was vacant for 3 months. So I was kind of scared, right? I was like, oh my God, is the area not popular? The realtor told me it was hot, but I guess apparently my property was right in front of the model home. So I think people just didn't like that location. And, obviously if you can afford 2,100 a month in rent, you're a higher end renter, right? At this point, you can almost afford to buy your own home. So, I kind of freaked out, but, my monthly payment was only like, I think PITI was like 1,100. So I'm just like, I can afford it, right? I'm working. I own some properties that make me a little bit of cash flow. Um, so whatever, I can take it. And I ended up did renting out for 2,100, and I still have the same renters to this day. And what's nice about property management is I feel bad personally in raising people's rent, but property managers don't care, right? Like every time the lease ends, they're going to raise their rents because they get paid a 10% percentage. So the more the rent is, the more they get paid. And then I'm not the bad guy, right? Because I feel bad about raising rents, but they don't. So that's what I liked about having a property manager now, because like now I don't have to be the bad guy. I don't have to do the work. I just can focus on buying the real estate. So that's what kind of pivoted me over. So I just said at this point, I'm not going to buy any more homes in California. I'm just going to hit my 10 single family home goal by buying out of state in Huntsville, Alabama. Right? It's a nice market, get good quality tenants. I can buy these new builds for this much, but it's not as much cash flow. I mean, sorry, not as much appreciation. But what's kind of cool about new builds is that, like, if you buy a house early on, let's say there's four phases. If you buy it in phase one, it's a lot cheaper. But then by the time phase four is done, then they raise the price of the houses because so that kind of gives you natural appreciation. So I think I bought the house in like phase three, and by the time phase four is done, my property I think appreciated by 30,000, which is like almost like 10. That's 10%. In like a year. That's pretty solid. So, I just said that, hey, if I can get it early on in phase one, you get that natural appreciation. I'm getting that cash flow, and it's scalable, right? I don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't have to house hack anymore and lose privacy. I can still rent and focus more on cash flow. So I've diversified, right? I have my appreciation in California and I have some cash flow in Huntsville, Alabama. So that was kind of my plan. But then, shortly after getting this single family home, my fourth single family home, that's when I started diving into apartment complexes. And, like I said, once I learned about apartment complexes, I never looked back at this point. I only want to buy apartment complexes. Eventually I'll trade 1031 my single family homes into apartment complexes. I only want to own a single family home for me to live in. But like I said, it's possible, right? You can buy single family homes. And I wish I had an A through Z system on how to buy my first apartment complex, how to underwrite it, how to get off market deals. how to build credibility of lenders, with investors, with mortgage brokers, with realtors. It's a different ball game, right? When you're in multifamily, you're playing with the big fish. You're in the bigger pond, right? You're playing with the big boys, and you have to be taken seriously to get the good deals. So, I wish I had a system that taught me how to get off market deals, to negotiate with owners directly, and that's how you get the good deals. So that's what inspired me in creating my Making Multifamily course. I'll put a link in the description down below. But like I said, if I had this course when I was starting off, maybe I just would have bought one single family home instead of four, and then moved on to apartment complexes. But like I said, just want to share my journey to say that I'm just like everyone else. I started off in single family homes. All the big players like Grant Cardone, he even started off in single family homes. And there's nothing wrong with it, but if you kind of see my natural progression by the fourth property, that's when I started thinking out of state. That's when I started thinking um, property management, and that's when I was open to, like, wow, a single family home was $280,000. Maybe I can get an apartment complex for $1 million in Huntsville, Alabama, because I'm already buying $1 million single family homes in California, but in Huntsville, I can buy $1 million, maybe 8 unit, 10 unit, and I can get more cash flow. So that's when I start opening my mind a little bit, like, oh wow, like I can do it out of state. I bought this for single family home without even seeing the property. I never saw it. I only just saw pictures of it from the inspector and from my property manager. So that's what kind of expanded my horizon a little bit. Like, I was in my comfort zone and buying California, but this is the first time I stepped out of my comfort zone and purchased in Huntsville, Alabama. I never even been in Alabama. I never been to Huntsville. I never even saw the property, right? So I bought this literally sight unseen. I never even been to Alabama. So um, if you kind of open your mind to things, that's when you start to, like, really just change your perspective, and that's when new opportunities come, right? So this is how I naturally progress, because my next deal after this is when I started buying apartment complexes, and it just took a single family home out of state to expand my horizons. So hopefully this video kind of inspires you and showing you my real estate journey, that it's okay to start off with single family homes, but once you start to open your mind to it, and you have an A through Z system that you can follow, and you have a mentor or coach that can kind of help guide you for your first deal, then if you're open to that, you can learn from someone like me, learn from my mistakes, learn from my system, learn from my experiences, and that will expedite your journey, right? So, yes, you can find a lot of free information on YouTube. I found a lot of free information on YouTube, but by getting the course, it just kind of expedites your journey, right? Like, time is money in my mind. So, like, imagine if I started buying apartment complexes in 2017 instead of single family homes. I would be so much bigger versus where I am today, right? So by buying a course, you're basically buying back time, you're buying a system, and you're buying a shortcut, right? And if you work with a mentor or coach, whether it's me or some other real estate investor, then you can learn how they did it faster. So that's why, looking back, I would pay money to get back my time and to learn faster, because time is money, and money compounds over time, right? So the biggest regret that I hear from all big real estate investors is, number one, I wish I never sold. And number two is, I wish I bought more real estate. So by learning a system, it can help you do both, right? You can never sell and you can buy more real estate. So overall, hope you found this video helpful. In my next video, I'm going to talk about how I got my first apartment complex, because that's my fifth deal. And I'm going to put a link in the description to the course down below if you're interested. And please like and subscribe. Thank you so much.